This is Life as an Outsider. I'm your host, Jake Schneider. Hey, what's going on, folks? It's your host, Jake Schneider of Life as an Outsider. I was played in by the wonderful John Curry on Groove. We are here at Northgate Marketing. We're in the conference room. Thank you to Northgate for letting us use this. Huge shout out to them. I'm here with two awesome guests today, Tiffany and Justin from Twisted Fizz. If you can't tell by their merch that they're wearing, they kind of own this company. And thanks for bringing the shirts in for us, guys. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having us on.
So tell us a little bit about what Twisted Fizz is.
Sure, I'll kick it off, Jay.
Go for it.
All right, so we are a custom soda, lemonade, tea, and water drink cart. So anything you think that we can make twisty, we will. So when you think of, for instance, like a Dr. Pepper, we give you way more than that. Our favorite, my drink, is That's What She Said. We got to play on the name. It shows our personalities, but That's What She Said is one of our OG drinks, and that one's Dr. Pepper, raspberry puree, and coconut cream. And It's a huge hit, great first timer. Justin can tell you his favorite drink, but we just have a different variety for every single one. And if you can't find something you like, that will shock us because literally everyone can find something they like.
Yeah, you bet. So every drink starts with like a base, right? So it's any fountain drink you can think of. So my favorite happens to be Coke with blue raspberry. Sounds really weird. And then a squeeze of fresh lime. And we call that the Johnny C if you see us out and about on our menu.
Awesome. Yeah, I was doing some digging into your menu. In fact, I actually visited you guys, got to meet you at Bondurant at the county fair, farmer's market, whatever it was that they were having.
Summerfest.
Yeah, Summerfest.
Yep.
And I got, for those of you who know me, I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan. I mean, it's just like, I had a sister, I heard all of it, and I was like, it's all right. Like, it's whatever. But you guys had Taylor Swift-themed drinks because she was coming to town that week.
Yeah.
Or she had just announced her tour. And the one that I got was Look What You Made Me Do, which was sparkling water, lemon juice, pineapple, strawberry, lime. It was awesome. And I was like, okay, these aren't just like, as a kid, you kind of go along the entire soda machine and you pour every single drink in there and you drink it like, it's not like that.
Totally.
It's curated, which is something strange to say about fizzy drinks, that they're curated.
For sure. Yeah, we got a lot of our inspiration from out west. So I'm initially from Utah. And out there, soda shops are just as common as a gas station on the corner. And so we would go back to visit and fall in love with these soda shops. And every time we'd come home, we were like, why don't we have one of these here? We love the atmosphere, the drinks, the vibe, just hit up a drive-thru or something quick. So that's really how it came to be.
I was going to say, that's not really something that you see in the Midwest. Like, you see Snooki's Malt Shop, you see places like Smoky Row with the old school ice cream, but yeah, soda shops are a little bit of a rarity.
Yeah, definitely not anything like it in the area. And certainly, when we were looking to start something, we were like, okay, because nothing's in the area, maybe there's a reason. So we wanted to start a little smaller, make sure folks actually like the concept before we, kind of went crazy, did like brick and mortar, things like that. Mm-hmm. But, here we are kind of already thinking that way. So
I was going to say, you guys
fantastic.
Have been killing it since you've started. I mean, I've seen several posts on your page, sold out, sold out, sold out in the month that I've followed you guys.
Yeah.
This is insane. You guys are doing really well. Kudos to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You talk about soda shops and curating those sodas. What brought you out here from out west?
Ooh, fun story.
Let's get into it.
Yep. Might as well.
Just a high school relationship, really. He had family out here, and long story short, I had planned to have a quick stint in Iowa after high school. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I'd gone to cosmetology school. Mm-hmm. I'd taken some classes, but I hadn't found my path yet. I think no one should really be required to do that until their 30s anyway, but I definitely hadn't found my path yet. And then I decided to stay for a minute, and I got a job with benefits at Wells Fargo. My trainer got sick, and I met Justin. He had to stop in and be my trainer for our entire class, but we were like instant besties. And one day he's like, why don't you just stay in Iowa for a year, see how it goes? And now we've been married almost 15 years. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations to you guys.
I'm glad that it worked out that way.
Justin, I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, I think I got the better end of that deal for sure.
I was going to say, you're saying that people don't need to find out what they need to do until their 30s. Tyler, we got time. We got time.
You got time.
We got time. Well, that's really cool to hear. And it's so interesting to see how something that could be viewed as a failed experiment, whether it's a quote unquote failed relationship, which honestly, like, how many high school relationships actually last and actually turn into something, how something like that can blossom into what it is you guys are doing today, which is supporting the community. And that's one thing that I also wanted to shout out is you guys are supporting your community in every single aspect of your shop.
Thank you. We love our community. So we reside in Bondurant, Iowa. We would love to grow in Bondurant if possible. When we think of a drive-through or something like that, we want to be smart about it financially too. But we absolutely love the people in Bondurant and surrounding Bondurant. We've been really lucky to raise our kids there and grow our business. And we're both in corporate America for 10 plus years too. And it's just, I mean, with this new stint in our life, like, we've just had nothing but open arms and support for us, which has been super cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's so interesting about those small communities is, so I live in Ankeny.
Yeah.
Ankeny can only grow out west so far. I mean, Bondurant's east of Ankeny. I wouldn't be surprised to see in the next 10 years a huge spike in the Bondurant population because Ankeny is growing so just rapidly.
Totally.
And a lot of the businesses on Ankeny are on the east side. I mean, that strip of Delaware is where you've got your Walmart, you've got your shopping centers, you've got your restaurants and fast food places. I really think that the idea of growing something in Bondurant, getting in on the ground floor, is a noble idea, not just to support your community, but also to get in on the ground floor of something. I see Bondurant becoming like a Polk City or something like that in the next couple of years where it just keeps growing.
Oh yeah, we think it definitely could. So the city, we just met with the city recently, and I think from the time we moved out there, which was about a decade ago, 10 years ago, to now, it went from 4,000 people to about 8,000 people in town. So still doesn't sound like a lot, right? If you're kind of in a booming metropolis area out there listening, but double the growth in 10 years has been fantastic to see and be a part of. And now we're excited to kind of be on the entrepreneurship side of it and partnering with other businesses and seeing how they're doing that exact same thing in town.
Absolutely. That's one of the best parts of being in that community is getting to know other entrepreneurs and business owners. And that's part of the whole reason that I started this podcast was to talk to business owners and entrepreneurs. And one thing that I noticed in following you guys on social media, you just got back from a trip out west, stopped in some different soda shops. So what was that like in kind of thinking about your branding, kind of thinking about how can we grow, how can we mature? I mean, did you pick things up from other places like this is how we want to grow? Were you like, I don't want to be like this place? Like, what was that kind of journey like? And because you were also on vacation too, you don't want to work all the time.
Yeah, it was a really fun experience. So for anybody that hasn't seen it, kind of what Jake is referencing is we did 5 soda shops in 5 days. And we say soda shops, we've referenced that term a lot here, but turns out a lot of what we end up getting there is like a sparkling water. It's not necessarily soda. But the concept was really cool. And we tried things that maybe you wouldn't think of as a typical soda shop as well. So for example, Dutch Brothers Coffee. Well, they have like these energy drinks as well. That was one of our stops along the way. And one of the things that they do, not from like a product perspective that we maybe took away, but they do your first drink is free if you haven't tried Dutch Brothers before. And so we hadn't tried them before. We got to experience that. And we're like, how cool would that be, right? If we get to a brick and mortar where first time you come, your drink is free. We just want you to try us out, right? So that was maybe one, one thing from that stop. I don't know, Tiffany, what was yours?
Yeah, I would say a huge part of what we're building, I think, has so much to do with culture, because I think anyone can go out and buy a Dr. Pepper, cream, raspberry, right, and make that drink at home. But we really want people to feel special, magic, like they got this good thing going on when they come to see us. And so a lot of what I pay attention to is not only like the recipes, the technology that they're using to get the drinks out quickly, efficiently, but it really is the culture. How are their employees? How do we, someday get our employees to make people feel that way? And we did learn so much from that. We curate recipes all the time at home. So that's just fun to taste something different that you don't always get. but totally about the people, the design of these buildings, and just how they're working. I mean, one place we visited, shout out to Soda Shack in Idaho. I will say it's the tiniest little thing, and it literally is a shack, but they are killing it. And it really is about the people and the drinks and just the good time. And so that's what we want to continue to bring. And that's a huge part of what I took away from our 5 soda shops in 5 days.
Let's dig into that a little bit. Culture and building a company and building a brand people want to stay a part of and be a part of. And because, I mean, corporate America, it sucks. I mean, it's... I have had that trombone sound on my sound pad for months, and I've been waiting for a spot to play it, and I can't think of anything.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Mentioning corporate America. Yeah. But talking about corporate America, it's not a culture that wants to keep people. It's a culture of high turnover. It's a culture of you are replaceable. We are here to make money. We don't care about the customer. You come to Iowa, you meet these small business owners. There's something different. They care about the culture. What is it within you that wants to create that culture for not just your community, but also for your potential employees?
Yeah, so my dream, so when I was growing up as a teenager, I worked at this place. I'm going to say it. It was called Wingers out in Utah. It is, when I worked there, I was kind of a lost teenager, like a lot of teenagers, right? And I wasn't sure about who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, but I had a really awesome manager there who took me under his wing, was just awesome, and made everybody feel like they were just a part of the family. That made a huge impact to me, and I've fortunately had just a ton of people in my life that I've had that's done the same thing. And I just kind of look back at my childhood and those adolescent years, and I think I want to be that for other people. So when I think about the opportunity to have teenagers working for me, some people might think, no way, a bunch of teenage kids, we don't want them here. I literally want you here. I want you here to enjoy the drinks. I would love to be your boss and just help mold people into just being good humans, finding out what contribution they can make in the world. And I don't think it's one size fits all. I don't think it's a 4-year degree, corporate job, the end. I think there's so many places we can go with that. And I'd love to be a part of helping them uncover their magic.
Yeah, tons of cool paths. And I'll say, not to completely crap on corporate America, right? Because I think ultimately it's probably about, to use kind of a buzz or corporate-y term, it's like servant leadership, right? Doing something for other people doesn't matter whether it's good or not for the company. When it's your own business, you don't have to worry about that. It's truly just whatever you want it to be. And that's been kind of the cool part of what we built so far and what we hope to be the culture, and why kids want to come work for us and have fun and, rock out, make cool drinks and have fun with people.
It's a really good point. I mean, that servant leadership idea, I've been reading several different books, including one called Don't Keep Your Day Job. And in there it mentions wake up each morning and think, how can I serve somebody else? And that's the key to building a good company. That's the key to building a good customer base. I've talked to business owners and I've talked to entrepreneurs that I haven't had on my show because it's all about me. It's all about what I can do. It's all about how my business is performing. And I think there's a level of that where you have to be confident of, I am proud of what my business has done. But if you're going out and doing things just for yourself, it's not going to work out well. It's all about that servant leadership. And I think you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, I think of a couple of my jobs as a high schooler. I mean, one was working at a church camp, slinging away, washing dishes for 40 cents an hour, basically. I would leave the week, I had to get a $40 paycheck. I was like, this is awesome. I'm rolling high. That was back in 2008 too. So it's not like it was so far removed. Yeah. It still was, it was an entry-level job. But one of the guys that worked there, shout out Dave Callison, he was a fire department. He was on the volunteer fire department up in that area as well as being the assistant director of the church camp. And I've never learned more from somebody than I learned from Dave in just work ethic and putting your best foot forward and serving other people. I mean, that's what he modeled. And then I think of some of the other bosses I had throughout high school and even afterwards. You're hitting the nail on the head, and that it's a generation that is impressionable and needs somebody to model that for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to add too. So our time in corporate America, we worked for a large insurance company downtown here. And I think a lot of upbringing as adults was because of the awesome leaders that we had at that place. And yeah, we never wanted to end up in corporate America long term, but you're totally right. It's about those people that can make a difference, like a big, big difference in your life. And I don't think we would have gotten to this point had they not been a part of our journey. So
absolutely. Yeah.
just so many, it's cool how we can have that big of an impact.
I think that like the sources of inspiration for kids these days are just like incredible, right? So if you want to learn anything, literally anything, you can go to YouTube and you can find people who are out there being servant leaders that you may never meet in person, but are a huge inspiration to you. It's really cool.
It's a really good point. Pardon me. So you've talked about working in corporate America together. Yeah, I mean, anywhere can have good bosses. Anywhere can have good servant leaders, and I think that's absolutely right. One of the things I'm curious about, how long into your marriage until you're like, I want to start a soda shop, and Justin looked at you. I want to know what that moment was like.
Oh, man.
What was that moment?
Yeah.
There are so many moments.
Yeah, there are probably a dozen of those moments, maybe. Tiffany is definitely the idea person behind this business. She's everything behind this business, really, besides building the cart, and maybe scratching a few ideas that aren't cart friendly or mobile friendly. That's maybe my purpose so far.
Justin's like my personal business consultant and life coach.
But it's been cool because I feel like we've always kind of supported each other, even when the ideas were super crazy and like probably shouldn't have happened. We've just always supported each other. I don't know.
I will say it's probably been like a solid 5 years when we were driving back from Utah. I mean, you got 16 hours in the car. You got the kids in the back with their iPads. Let's be real. And you're looking at each other like, I don't really know that I want to go back to work on Monday. Like, I feel like we are meant for something bigger, to make a bigger impact and just be this positive light, hopefully for someone, for ourselves. And I bet it was 5 years, and it took us really 5 years to do it, but good job, babe. You
Yeah.
did it.
You made it.
Maybe thousands of iterations of a logo. I remember staring at a sketch on like lined paper of what I thought the cart could look like, and it's crazy to see how like kind of actually does resemble that.
It's crazy how that initial thought can kind of evolve and morph. I mean, I've had the idea of something like the Outsiders Cafe or Outsider this or Outsider that. I've had that idea lodged in my brain since I can remember. And it's crazy how that's evolved from, it started as the Outsider Cafe. It was a beer mug with a fork and a spoon on it. I was like, I'm going to make this awesome restaurant. Then I worked in restaurants. I was like, I never want to work in restaurants again. This sucks. I like people. This will make you hate people. And just that idea of how things can evolve. And I'm assuming that communication has just been such a big part of your partnership as well as your marriage as well.
Yeah, we thankfully have really good communication, even if it's walking away for a moment, pausing, like, all right, we'll come back to that. Like Justin was saying, there are so many things I want to add to our menu on the regular. I want to buy 50 more syrups, add so many mix-ins to our drinks, but he is super good at process improvement, and I'm really good at the communication and people side. And so together, I think we make a good team, but it is leaning into your strengths and kind of trusting your partner that they know what they're doing. Justin did business consulting in the corporate world for a long time, and he was great at it. And so I'm like, I maybe should trust him. I'll let you win this one.
Yeah, but you don't have to be as like risk averse, right? When it's your own thing, you can try things where historically maybe I, wouldn't have been as comfortable reaching outside of that comfort zone. And so you're just like, all right, let's try this one thing. Doesn't have to exist forever. Customers may miss it, right? But maybe that's a good thing. And then we learn from that feedback and implement something else.
Yeah, being risk averse is not something you can do as an entrepreneur and succeed. I think embracing those risks and embracing that challenge, the idea of embracing failure as a teacher instead of a momentary lesson. It's a lifelong teacher. Speaking of, you're being risk averse, not being risk averse, trying new things. We talked about some of your favorite drinks. I got to ask, like, there's got to be some that you've tried there, like, this does not work.
Oh, man. So many do work, but I will say there was a weird one This kid came up the other day and he's like, I want Coke and lemonade. That's it. Mix them. I'm like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know. He loved it. We'll take that as a win.
Probably not making the menu.
Well, it's not making the menu.
Yeah.
It's not making the menu. You know, I would say the hardest part has been since we do fountain soda mobily, we're limited a little bit to 7 drinks, or what would you say?
Yeah, like 7 soda bibs, right? So essentially, it's a full-on beverage system in cart form, if that makes sense. So for those of you that have worked in restaurants or work there, right, those big like 5-gallon bibs, you know, it's just like your Coke syrup. That's what's in the cart, right? So you can only carry so much of that before it gets a little unruly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'll say most of it has been good so far. But this week we actually will be doing a, try your own combinations. So people will submit their combinations and then we'll try them and rate them on video. And that always goes over awesome. So like if you want to make something crazy, Jake, I'm excited to see what you whip up. What can we make Tiff and Justin try?
Cotton candy and Coke. Let's do it.
Yes, it's probably good. I mean, come on.
You put basically anything in Coke and it's good.
It is. Yes.
What's it been like involving your family in this process? Because you mentioned kids as well. I mean, how are your kids involved? What's it been like kind of introducing them into this?
Yeah, I think it's been super fun, interesting, totally evolved from what it was originally. So specifically for a 14-year-old, right? She's just kind of coming of working age.
Legally.
Yeah. could have, she could go wash dishes at a restaurant and kind of have the Jake experience, right? Mm-hmm. And we totally want her to experience other bosses besides us. So she's going to do that at the end of the summer. She's going to work at the fair. So she's jacked about that. But also, she works events with us. And so it's been interesting to see her morph from like kind of shy teenager, not sure what she's doing, to like, okay, got you over here. How many drinks was that? Like kind of taking it on and making it her own thing. That's part of the business.
Yeah, I've loved it. And we have 2 drinks named after our girls. If you guys ever get a chance to try us, we have LA Dreamin'. So that's Sprite, orange, and vanilla cream. It tastes kind of like a creamsicle. LA after Lily Allen. And then we have Nornado because Nora is our little tornado. She's our 8-year-old. And that's lemonade and orange. And that's on our kids' Fizz. But they've really enjoyed it. They come to most of our events with us. And we're excited to see their future too. I think one of our daughters is super turned off into entrepreneurship now. She's like, I've seen this, mom and dad. I'm going to go into the medical field. And then our youngest, she's a little bit more on the creative wild side. So I'll be very interested to see. They're still very young, but it's been a blast. And then just talking about more on the family side, I have to give a huge shout out to my in-laws. They had a waffle truck, Grandpa's Waffles, Liege Waffles here in Des Moines. And this was their last summer doing that. But we had the opportunity to learn so much from them last couple of years. And if you've ever worked in the food truck, pushcart industry, it's a wild one, but thankful for them and their love and support. And really half of the time we're at events, they're hanging out with our kids. So they've always been there. It's been awesome.
What better way to build family memories, too, than to work together in the summer? And, I mean, kudos to her on working the fair. I did that for a while. I've got a buddy. His dad owned a couple stands at the state fair. Now he owns one, and I worked for him. And good luck.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fun.
I think it's all good experience.
It is really
every
fun.
Every day's not going to be your favorite, but you're going to learn something. You'll figure out what you want to do next.
Exactly.
For sure.
It's fun, and it really does kind of shape you and form you. And you're like, if I can get through a 10-hour rush where just people are coming to my window every second, we're good.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, you get all the free fried food you can eat.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to see her work in that window.
That's really fun. Yeah. I've noticed in talking with different people that family-owned entrepreneur business, it's becoming more and more rare these days. And so it always brings joy to my heart to see something like that work out and continue to support your kids in that as well, because it's just so rare to see nowadays. I mean, I think of when I would talk with my parents and they would always have these grandiose ideas of, I want to own this or I want to own this. And, I'm hoping to someday be able to help them with that. And, some of the best ideas that I've ever had are just sitting down talking with my dad about different businesses. And I think you're building an incredible bond with your kids that way too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think they think we're crazy at times, but we're thankful for them. And yeah, we, with our parents, I mean, we'll run something past them. They're like, do it, let's go. And I don't know, if they weren't so supportive, it probably wouldn't be as easy. But yeah, we went through some pretty big moments to get here, and we couldn't have done it without their support.
Yeah, I think it exposes, right, good, bad, and different. I think for the most part good, right, exposes the kids to something that they wouldn't otherwise see, right? So like the conversations that mom and dad have that are like, what are we going to order? What, like just random conversations. But then also like they work an event, we come home from an event, and there's like, truthfully, there's just like piles of cash sitting on the table, and you're counting. You're like, wow, that's an interesting part.
We didn't even know what to do the first night we sold out. We're like, what do we do with this money? Like, it felt weird.
Yes, you're like, obviously you count it, and then you're like explaining them financial lessons, because there's just this thing that there's this. Can you still hear me?
We're good. We're good.
There's this thing that you just like can't ignore on the kitchen table, and you're, spurs some other conversation. So it's just fun.
Yeah, I think of similar but totally different. I was homeschooled growing up, and my parents kind of told me, all right, you're in charge of your own schooling. Here's the books. I mean, I had 3 other siblings that my mom also had to wrangle, and it was a hassle. We were a hassle. We were a handful. But that really did that instilled that entrepreneurial drive in me. And even though I don't own a business, it's pushed me to be a better person, to continue to push myself, to continue to learn. And I think that's, I encourage you guys, that's one thing that I see you two are doing with your kids is, even though they may not want to go into owning a business, I mean, you're instilling in them, you can do this. You can kick as much butt as possible and sling drinks or do whatever you want, because we have taught you that these are things you can do. And I think that's something that you also want to talked about high schoolers as well. You also want to pass on to them is instilling that confidence. We're such a culture right now of fragile people, because so many people have been told, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't say this, you can't say this, you have to fit in this and this. And I think instilling that value into people of, you are your own person, you can do this, you can kill it out there, I think is definitely something that needs to be talked about more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, that's entrepreneurship at its core, is like, right, maybe it's successful. It could be successful without sharing it with other people, but it's definitely not going to be as much fun, and certainly not going to like give you as much fulfillment if you're not like helping pass those things on to other people. That's our belief.
Absolutely. I've had a few people around the country reach out too, just excited about what we're doing and to have shared that we've inspired them. And really, it's not to toot our own horn. It's so cool to, again, have that positive impact on someone. And we get that from other businesses too that we really like. So it's just, we're happy to pay it forward.
That's awesome to hear, and that's a great note to start to wrap up on. As we talk about paying it forward, we talk about bringing it out to the community, supporting your community in that. So how can we support you guys as Twisted Fizz? How can the outsiders support you?
Yeah, I would say right now, following us on social media is huge. Sharing us with a friend. We might surprise you with a koozie and a t-shirt. You just never know. But on Instagram, we're just twisted_fizz. And then on Facebook, Twisted Fizz. We'd love to hear from you. And then we also do different events, corporate events, graduation parties, festivals. We're excited for the end of the summer to come and then next year too.
You ever thought about doing any twisted hot chocolates during the winter?
Absolutely, we have.
Yeah,
Absolutely, we have.
Maybe you were listening into a conversation yesterday. I think it literally was yesterday we were talking about this.
Yeah, I make a really killer cinnamon roll too, and I just am like dreaming of homemade cinnamon rolls and twisted hot chocolate.
I didn't eat lunch. This sucks.
More to come, if not this year, sometime for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? So following on social media, and the biggest thing from there is you can see where we'll be, because it's a mobile concept for now. If you want to see what Twisted Fizz is all about, come see us at one of our events.
Awesome. Well, Tiffany, Justin, this has been awesome. This has been really fun. You guys are a treat. I always love sitting down and talking to people that own businesses, much less when they are married and make it work and own businesses as well. I mean, doing one of those alone is crazy. Doing all three of those is awesome, and I commend you guys. I can't wait to see where Twisted Fizz goes in the next 6 months to a year, and I'm really happy to be along for the ride.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thanks so
Jake.
much, Jake.
It's
Thanks
been
for having
awesome.
us.
Absolutely. Folks, thank you very much for listening to Life as an Outsider. As you know, I have my event coming up September 16th, 2023. You can get your tickets at tix.com. Search Celebrating the Outsiders. I'm really excited to bring that to you guys. As always, make sure to support Twisted Fizz. I have these people on not so you guys can just look and see, oh, this is cool, and never tune in again. Seriously, give these people a follow, and if you get some of their drinks, tell them Jake from Life as an Outsider sent you. Thanks, folks. Be kind to each other.